couldn't. Now, there's a very good reason for this. There's this misconception that people go to work and they concentrate for 8 hours straight. But we know that people's concentration begins to wane quite rapidly after about 40 minutes. People need what we call mini breaks to restore their concentration. They may go grab a cup of water, they grab a cup of coffee, have a chat with their friend. As it turns out, Facebook in the workplace was a way for people to restore their concentration. A couple of days later, after I discovered this finding, I was walking to the lunchroom. I ran into David Scott, and David Scott is the media officer at the University of Melbourne. He said, "Brent, what have you got for me? You got any new research?" I said, "Guess what, Dave? Yes, just discovered that Facebook and at work is good for productivity." He said, "Well, that's quite the finding, Brent." Turns out, David had lunch with a friend of his later on, who's a journalist for a local newspaper. He told the journalist about the story. The journalist liked it and published a small piece in the local newspaper. The story made its way back around the world, where I found myself on national TV explaining to the rest of Australia why I thought Facebook and at the workplace was good for productivity. The story had gone viral. Now, a couple of days later, I was sitting in my office, still reeling from all the media attention that I'd gotten, but I was also very surprised at what had happened. How had a little academic study like that gone viral around the world? It never happens. So I decided to do a little study on my own. I ended up looking at YouTube movies, looked at 130 YouTube movies to see if I could figure out which of those movies were viral and why they were viral, and the patterns between them that explained why they were viral. Now, after a lot of effort, I finally came up with a little mathematical formula or an algorithm, a basic algorithm that could explain what makes things go viral. Now, oftentimes it's not the product that matters to people, it's the brand that people really care about. And this is how affinity works. Here's Marshall Amps. Now, Marshall wanted to create a little social media campaign. Using Facebook, they posted this image of one of their amps, and this little tagline here, "Marshall Amps since 1962. Now, not a bad idea. The following happened. They got a certain amount of likes. They had 77 likes, 5 comments, 36 people shared it. Now, this is not bad, but it's not great either. They weren't using any affinity. Then they changed it to this, using the same image of the Marshall amp. The result? 180,000 likes, almost 6,000 comments, 27,000 people shared this. Why? Marshall discovered they shouldn't be selling their amps. It was the attitude behind the brand that really mattered to people. There's a business in WA, a motorcycle dealership. This is Jack. Now, Jack was having a very hard time competing in his market with the larger franchises. He was competing on price. He was constantly dropping his price. He had one of those permanent sail-on stickers in his window. Things weren't going so well. So I met with Jack, and I told him, "Look, let's try and replicate this Marshall experience." We put our heads together, and I said, "Jack, I don't own a motorcycle, but you do. What is it about people buying motorcycles? Why are you so passionate about them?" He thought about it and he said, "Well, Brent, you know, there's nothing like the freedom of riding down an open highway." I said, "That's it. Let's stop selling motorcycles. Let's start selling freedom. Let's see if it'll work." So we used this image here. We wanted the focus to be on the rider. We wanted people to step into the rider's shoes and feel how cool it was to own a motorcycle. And we used the following tagline. If you want to be happy for a day, you drink. If you want to be happy for a year, you get married. You want to be happy for a lifetime, you ride a motorcycle. Now, then we used what we know about viral, our viral algorithm there, and carefully seeded it in social media networks. The result, a year later, Jack was enjoying a 32% increase in sales. A fantastic result. Jack learned, well, maybe I shouldn't be selling motorcycles. Maybe it's the lifestyle that people really care about, and ever since he's been successful.